I've had the Switch 2 now for a few days, and I think it's really great, aside from one really big gripe that I have with it. It's not the fact that my old SD card doesn't work with it, or the price of the console, or it only having one first-party game at launch, or how wobbly the dock is, or how awkward it is to hold the right Joy-Con in your hand, or the fact that they haven't given Mario Maker a mouse mode, or the obnoxious borders they add when you're trying to do game share. My biggest gripe is with this, the Switch 1 Pro controller.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back on Angry Guys channel, and the Nintendo Switch 2 console is already breaking. Aren't you glad you didn't buy one? Oh, wait a minute. You did buy one. Man, oh man. I'm telling you. I am so glad to be a PC gamer nowadays. Because when you're a PC gamer, you don't need much equipment. Just need your gaming laptop or desktop, hook up a controller, get Steam, and that's it. You don't have to get in line for console releases anymore. You just wait for games to come out. I'm just glad. And I had a feeling like once they announced that the games were going to be digital, that you were not really going to own your games or own the console for that matter, I already knew that it was going to have more problems. Something told me that's not the only problem that this console is going to have, but it turns out I was right. Guys, if you haven't heard about Andy Matrix, go ahead and check out my channel, Andy Matrix Gaming, here on YouTube. The link is below the link is below this video. Also, check out my second channel, which is Andy Society. I talk about economics and social issues. Go ahead and check that as well. And everybody, if you're here on Angry Guys channel, make sure to check him out on Rumble. YouTube has become the censor station, and Angry Guy is uploading his videos on Rumble. Okay, so go ahead and check that out. Link is in the description. And do not let anybody tell you that you own nothing and be happy. Angry Guy's got a solution with crypto. Go check out his cryptocurrency course, Angry Guys Crypto Academy. Also in the description. All links are there. Go check it out now. Let's go ahead and move on with today's topic. So, many gamers are actually, having buyer's remorse. Yeah. Gamers are having buyer's remorse with the Nintendo Switch 2. I guess if you're like an old school gamer, maybe like maybe like a Gen X or a millennial. A lot of people say, I'm a millennial. Right, I'm a millennial. So a lot of people say that Nintendo is always an in and out with them. Like they'll release, when the Nintendo 64 came out, it was great. And then the GameCube came out and it was trash. Well, I don't think so, but people say it was trash. And then the Nintendo Wii was absolutely fantastic. And then the Nintendo Wii U was absolute flop. And then the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch came out and it was an absolute success, selling way more than the PlayStation 2. Nintendo Switch was an absolute, it was an absolute success. It was one of the greatest innovations in gaming we've ever seen. Right? So they get one right, then the next one is wrong. Get one is good, then the next gen is bad, then the next gen is good, then the next gen is bad. It's like Microsoft. Microsoft Windows. Windows, like Windows XP was great, then Windows Vista sucked. Windows 7 was great, and then Windows 8 really sucked. Windows 10 was amazing, and then Windows 11 just sucks. Right? It's just, I don't know. They just can't seem to be consistent. Right? The next one has to be a flop. Maybe they're just trying to learn something. I don't know. I don't know what the heck it is. But with the Nintendo Switch, people are having buyer's remorse. It's just having way too many problems on the release date. That's not a good sign. And one of the main complaints is the Joy-Con drift. Yeah, the Joy-Con drift, which, surprise, for some reason, I kind of saw this happening too. I've had a Nintendo. I had the Nintendo Switch, and I actually sold it. Because that's when I decided to become a PC gamer. During the pandemic, I sold my Nintendo Switch. I said, screw it, man. I don't care about Nintendo anymore. I just wanted to play Breath of the Wild. That was the only game I was playing, and then every other game that I really wanted to play was already on Steam. So I said, screw it. I'm just gonna buy it on Steam and just be a PC gamer, and then that's it. But then there's other issues like, battery life, not having enough game storage, all that stuff, man. It's a lot of issues. So look, how about we let Fritanga? Let's let Fritanga, fill us in as to what's happening with the Nintendo Switch 2. So hit it.
Honestly, I think the Switch 2 release has been a disaster. No, not in terms of sales, but in terms of how mismanaged it's been. You see, one thing I didn't tell you guys is that the Switch 2's boxing is stupid. The most vital component, the tablet itself, is positioned at the very top of the thin layered cardboard box. This oversight by Nintendo is honestly quite astonishing. They prioritized actually putting the docking bay beneath that in a more secure area and leaving the tablet at the very top easily exposed, which is exactly what some GameStop customers faced when GameStop employees stapled receipts on top of their boxes, damaging their brand new screens with staple holes. I'm not even kidding you. When I saw my friend unbox this thing, that was my first immediate thought. I'm like, oh geez, the tablet is placed at the top? That's the type of packaging that never considers people like DSP Gaming, who are stupid, or GameStop employees. And it's just been a disaster. Well, that's just a little side story I wanted to share with you because it's fucking hilarious. The real story is in the title of the video. Now, Nintendo announced that they have a policy where they guarantee you they will replace any Joy-Con that is drifting. That's actually good, but also bad at the same time, because when I read that, I knew immediately that meant Nintendo had done absolutely nothing to fix the major flaw in the design of their previous model. Joy-Con drifting was a huge controversy that surrounded the Switch. It was Nintendo's red ring of death. This is something that I faced when I had a Switch 1 model. Oddly enough, I never faced this with the Switch Lite, but to be fair, I didn't keep that system for long. I didn't keep my Switch 1 for long either, but in the short time I had it, it already had Joy-Con drifting issues. And that was my biggest problem with Nintendo, is they made one of the most uncomfortable controller schemes in existence. The Joy-Cons are pieces of shit, let's face it. And I don't like this whole idea that the controller that comes shipped with the system is intended to suck ass so you go and buy their expensive Pro controller. That's Nintendo for you. Everything about the system is intended for you to buy accessories that make it a playable device, like hand grips, or paid online voice chat, or a functioning controller. Then we get an update today, because it's only been about a week since the release of this thing, and there is already Joy-Con drift issues happening. I got my Switch 2 from Walmart on Thursday, but was unable to use it until Friday. The left Joy-Con felt a little cattywampus, but I still was able to play Mario Kart World. Today, Saturday, June 7th, the stick felt worse when pushing right. I guess I already had stick drift or something. Tried to recalibrate it in the Switch settings, and it showed the joystick all messed up. Called Nintendo and now have to send it in for repair. My luck in a nutshell.
What you fucking deserve!
Ah, yes! Yes! Okay. All right. I get it. I'm an asshole. Nobody actually deserves that. Look, if you pay for a product, you deserve to have a functioning product. Albeit, even if it's a soy-induced product that emasculates you like the Nintendo Switch. But hey, even if you were buying a bottle of soy and the ingredients were expired, that's still wrong, no matter how cringe it is that you bought it. What's more, he backs it up with some footage, so we're not just being clickbaited like it's an RGT85 or Dreamcast guy video. That looks bad. Indeed, that looks bad. But that's not Joy-Con drift. It's still a horrendous defect, though, that should absolutely 100% be replaced by Nintendo, and I'm sure they will do that with no questions asked. But that's not going to permanently fix your solution. Let me tell you what will permanently fix your solution. Returning the damn thing and going and buy yourself a Steam Deck. Personally, I wouldn't really be handing Nintendo money if they still haven't learned how to fix this basic issue. Hell, if, Nintendo had spent just a little more on R&D, they wouldn't have to spend so much fixing people's things. Because then there's the cost of shipping, the cost of repairing, and then the cost of shipping it back, then paying people to fix it. To me, it makes no sense that they had 8 years to resolve this issue with a permanent solution. But you don't know that, Frit. You don't know. They probably spent billions, and the mechanism that they researched just didn't fix the issue. You're too unfair on Nintendo. Defects happen all the time in hardware. I mean, you are right. Defects do happen all the time. I've just personally never once had an issue on my PC that I couldn't resolve myself. I never once had to ship anything back. It's crazy to me that I know so many people whose consoles have died on them in like 2 to 3 years, or have defects show up within months. And meanwhile, here on my PC, it took over 6 years before I had to finally do something like replace the power supply.
Yeah, man. So thank you for Tanga. Guys, go check out his YouTube channel. He's a really pretty cool YouTuber. And make sure to throw some tacos and fajitas at him while you're at it, And yeah, so Joy-Con drift. One of the main problems the Nintendo Switch 2 has is the Joy-Con drift. I don't know why they didn't solve that problem at first. That should have been like one of the first problems they should have solved with this console. So, well, I guess I should really say that the first problem is that you will own nothing and be happy because you're not, because the console's not even yours. Forget about the game, the cartridges, the key card. Yeah, the console's not even yours. They can shut that shit down whenever they feel like it. All right. And regarding the Joy-Con, check out this video.
The Switch 2 still has a major flaw that the Switch 1 had that everyone knows about. Yes, stick drift. I think you guys already guessed it. This was a huge issue with the original Switch, and Nintendo refused to fix that this generation. It's confirmed by both Nintendo and people doing teardowns that Nintendo is indeed still using the same technology with the Joy-Cons in the Switch 2. Nintendo already knows this is going to happen, and they already set up a program for broken Joy-Cons from stick drift. But why did Nintendo decide not to upgrade the Joy-Cons? And no, it's not because Nintendo's lazy or they want to save money. It's because of these magnets. The newer Hall Effect sticks actually use magnets, and it would have interfered with these magnets that hold the Joy-Cons into the Switch. So it looks like Nintendo had no choice, which is pretty sad. It's already been a week with the Switch 2, and I think people are reporting some stick drift. Let me know if that's actually true.
Oh yeah, and apparently Nintendo Switch 2 does not have enough games. This was the same problem with what was it? This was the same problem with the PlayStation 5. When the PlayStation 5 first came out, everybody was like, dude, like there's nothing to play here. There's really nothing to play here. But what you know what you should be investing in aside from the future of gaming? Cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. Everybody, go ahead and check out Angry Guy's Crypto Academy.
Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now.
Yeah, so the Nintendo Switch 2 does not have enough games. As of right now, the only game that's like multiplayer is like Mario Kart, right? And then every other game there, it's just, as of right now, it's just like games that are available on Steam or on other consoles. So it's like, why not just get it on Steam? I keep saying that, like, why not just get it on Steam? Right? Why not just get it on Steam if it's like, you don't have to buy a Nintendo Switch. You just go and pay the low price of $40, $50 on Steam, and the only other thing you're gonna need is a controller. But yeah, I was thinking, like, what about the Zelda game? But then again, it already came out, right? It already came out on the original Nintendo Switch. And then everything else that's transferred over to the Nintendo Switch 2 is just like the HD version, the remastered version, right? So we're gonna have to wait a couple of months, maybe another year, before we get more games to the Nintendo Switch 2. And what is it with this? It's like the same thing happened with PlayStation. It's like there's like almost no games on it. It's like aside from like the next 5 titles, there's like 5 good titles that you can play, and then everything else is just like from the previous gen console, from the PS4, for the old Xbox. You know, it's like they release these consoles without preparation. As a matter of fact, check out this video.
So I've got a slight issue with the Nintendo Switch 2, and that is the fact that there's absolutely nothing to play on it. I don't know about you, but I feel like that PC handhelds, like the Steam Deck, have basically killed the traditional console like the Switch for me. Like, do you remember when the first Switch came out? Breath of the Wild was literally the only game that you could play, and on the Switch 2, I guess that game is Mario Kart World. But the problem is that Mario Kart World is quite possibly one of the worst Mario Karts ever made. Beyond Mario Kart though, the other games that you can play on the Switch 2 are literally the same games that you could play on other consoles already, like the Steam Deck. Alternatively, I could also play Switch 1 games, but most of them haven't been updated, so they look very blurry indeed. So I'd say that if you are thinking about getting a Switch 2, the hardware is lovely, but wait, because there's nothing to play on at the moment.
Another problem that people have been having with a Nintendo Switch 2 seems to be the battery life, which, I mean, once I saw how small the device was, like how small, right? Because it's honestly not much bigger than the original Nintendo Switch. It's much more larger. It's got a bigger screen, but I mean, well, you might as well just buy the Switch OLED at that point. There's really not much difference, except that it's like, I think it has like 12 RAMs now instead of 4. Yeah, it's got 12 RAMs now. It's got a faster processing chip. So it's supposed to have the same computing power as a PlayStation 4, as we've been saying for like months now. But apparently it might have the same computing power, but as far as energy battery, it sucks. Like, people keep complaining that the battery power sucks. It's worse than the Steam Deck, because at least with the Steam Deck you get at least what, 2.5 hours of gameplay for a AAA game. On a Nintendo Switch, people are getting just 1 hour, 1.5 hours, or something like that, right? There's been reports. This is one of the main problems. It's just been report after report, review after review. Hey, battery life is not good. Battery life is not good. We're seeing it. Matter of fact, here's another video on that.
So there have been many reports going around about the Nintendo Switch 2 battery not lasting as long as it should. Nintendo has recognized this problem and put out a step-by-step guide on how to fix it through their customer support. If you are having this issue, first make sure your console is at the latest system update, turn off your console, then hold down the plus and minus volume buttons, and then press the power button to start the system. Keep holding down the volume buttons, and this will make the Nintendo Switch 2 go into recovery mode. Going into recovery mode should fix the issue, so just turn the system off again and then turn it on like usual. YouTuber Nintendo Prime has also given his own method of fixing this problem. First of all, turn off the charge to 90% mode if you have it on, play the Switch 2 until it dies, then charge it all the way back up to 100% without turning it on. If you do this a few times, then the battery should start working properly again. Anyway, are you having trouble with the Nintendo Switch 2 battery?
Another problem that everybody thought would be solved with the Nintendo Switch 2 is the storage, because the original Nintendo Switch had, what, I think like 30 gigabytes of storage? 30 gigabytes of storage. And the original Nintendo Switch release, a few years after the, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, right? So then, in those consoles were already graphics heavy. The graphics are pretty realistic. But and for those games on the PlayStation 4, we would have games that were 40, 50 gigabytes. Right? I mean, Final Fantasy Remake was like 50, 60 gigabytes, I think. That wouldn't even fit in the Switch. And then, of course, you do have the option of adding like a 200 gigabyte, storage chip, extension chip into the Switch. But I mean, if Nintendo was smart enough, they would add more internal storage. More internal storage, but it seems like I guess they're trying to keep the cost of the console down. Like it's a cheap hardware, but it's good at the same time. The original Switch. Now with the Nintendo Switch 2, it still doesn't have much storage. How much does it have? I think it was like less than 100 gigabytes. So you only be able to install about what, three games, three AAA games in there, and then that's it. And then recently, it's also been reported that there's been issue with the storage card, like like when you add a new trying to extend the storage is giving people problems. Check out this video.
I was starting to run low in storage on my Switch too, so I took out the micro SD card on my regular Switch because I don't really use my Switch anymore. I opened up the kickstand and inserted the micro SD card into my Switch 2, and I got this message: this micro SD card cannot be read or isn't compatible with the system. First of all, this literally has the Nintendo Switch logo on it right there, so I don't know why it's not compatible. Second of all, these express cards that you need are like 3 times as much money on Amazon. I can't afford that. I just spent $500 on the Switch 2.
I've had the Switch 2 now for a few days, and I think it's really great aside from one really big gripe that I have with it. It's not the fact that my old SD card doesn't work with it, or the price of the console, or it only having one first-party game at launch, or how wobbly the dock is, or how awkward it is to hold the right Joy-Con in your hand, or the fact that they haven't given Mario Maker a mouse mode, or the obnoxious borders they add when you're trying to do game share. My biggest gripe is with this, the Switch 1 Pro controller, and the fact that I can't turn on the console just by pressing the home button like I could on a Switch 1. Now, I am not down bad enough to spend $80 on a Switch 2 Pro controller to fix this. I think it's really easy for Nintendo to just make an update so this works. Too many times, I am way too comfortable on my couch and then I press this button and I have to get up again. All I'm asking, next Nintendo Direct, do the button update where the button works again. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am really glad that I did not buy a Nintendo Switch 2. Honestly, I am very, very happy being a PC gamer. I'm honestly not planning on buying any consoles anytime soon. PC gaming is just much better. It's very mobile. You can pick it up and go. I have a laptop, but for people that bought a Steam Deck or a Lenovo Go or the Asus ROG or the new Xbox, the new Xbox handheld gaming PC. Traveling with that thing is going to be much easier. So much more convenient, so much more better, and yeah, man, so much more better. So much better. And it's just and it's actually much cheaper, and yeah, I really don't see console gaming in my future anymore. Console gaming has become not just expensive, but also overpriced. And PC gamers like myself, we're patient. We are really patient. We will wait a whole year for an $80 game to drop to $40, $30. I'm serious. I've waited for games like 6 months to a year after it's released for them to like put it on Steam or Epic Games, and then I just buy with the discount. I just buy with the discount, and I save a lot of money being a PC gamer. And the more and more expensive gaming becomes, we're just gonna have more people, moving over to PC. Because the only other expense of being a PC gamer is just buying a controller. Which you can, if you have a PS5 controller, you're set. If you have an Xbox controller, you don't even need to buy a new console. Use your old one. Hook it up to your laptop, and you're ready to go. Alright, dudes, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to comment below. Tell me what you think about the Nintendo Switch console. Make sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for future notifications, everybody. It's your boy, Andy Matrix. Godspeed, baby!